Every time I close my eyes, I see in front of me.
Let's embark on a journey of knowledge and discovery. Let's learn from the extraordinary lives of the greatest in the art of living.
Join the conversation with hosts Dr. Wael Harasi and Dr. Lamia Al-Haj.
Every day
From Sunday to Thursday.
from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear listeners, I salute you with the salutation of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we are back again, alhamdulillah, today, as we promised both Dr. Wael Harasi and myself, Dr. Lamia Al-Haj, every day from 3 to 4, from Sunday to Thursday. With an interesting new topic. Today we have an exciting topic to discuss that I will introduce in just a minute. But before I start, I wanted you to remember that we have our lines open throughout the show, and you can call us on 24602058. The topic or the title of today's show is Children Outside the Box. So we selected this topic because summer has kicked in, and the mommies and daddies are probably wondering what to do with excited, energetic kids. So
and
we
you
have the
decided
solution.
to put them in a box.
No.
Is that what you do to your children?
Well, our guest speaker is going to tell us more information and going to give us enlightening ideas. So we would really encourage your input in the show today, because I'm sure there's loads of parents out there who are going to find this show exciting and informative, inshallah. And with your contribution, we will make this show a better show, inshallah. Before I introduce our guest, I would actually like to turn to Dr. Wael. Can you do me a favor and introduce our distinguished guest for
Yes,
today?
and as a tactic, we've used someone who has no children yet, because we would like to do most of the talking. Okay, today with us is Mu'tasim bin Sultan Al-Sharji, who has a finance and economics degree from Australia. He's a karate coach. He's Fordan, I believe. Fordan karate coach and a co-founder of Enriching Experience. It's a non-profit organization to enrich people's lives with knowledge. So welcome and thank you very much for accepting our invitation today, Mu'tasim.
It's my pleasure and duty. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Today we're going to talk about children, but a lot of people would think, why did you invite someone who has no children? Well, it doesn't matter. It's the knowledge he has that we parents, we would like to really grab and learn from. There are a lot of people with children who have no clue what to do. Yeah, and I'm the first of those people. And today we have a lot to listen and learn from Al-Mu'tasim, as we have already learned prior to the show when we were preparing for it.
And that's when we decided that both me and Wael are going to be quiet, because the 10 minutes that Mu'tasim shared his ideas with us just kept our mouth wide open. That, okay, that's it, Mu'tasim, you're leading the show today. So without any further ado, we're going to ask Mu'tasim to maybe share with us some ideas on what we were actually discussing just before the show. Maybe we can share that with the audience.
And why are we doing this show? Mu'tasim, during summer, children start their holidays and try and find things to do when parents don't. And not necessarily they would do the best of things or the healthiest of things. So the idea of the show today is, how can we boost the brain power of children during the summer period, when the brain normally needs stimulation? That stimulation, normally children get it while they're at school, either with interaction with other children or through studies. A lot of parents, suffer during summer. I remember a colleague of mine said, first day of my child out of school today, his first day of summer holidays, and he already rang me 5 times. Yeah, I'm bored. Yeah, he wants something to do. And just allow me, Mu'tasim, before we go into this, that at birth, when a child is born, there are about 100 billion neurons in their brains. That's as much number as the stars in our Milky Way, in the Milky Way. That number actually doubles and increases very rapidly. And the number of active neurons in the brain of a little child is double of that of an adult. And you would ask, why do we have that? Why do we have that number of neurons in a brain, in a children's brain, more than adults? Another question is that, why do we see that animal children, or animal babies, they grow in size much quicker and grow into adulthood much faster than our children, or human being. Human being, they take a long time, until they develop and they become stronger. And the reason is, and all of this just to make us, prepare ourselves on how to feed our brains. The whole reason of that, because the brain in children consume half of the energy that they have. When you eat, half of the glucose goes to the brain. If that amount of energy went into developing the body, it would have gained 77 kilograms within a month.
Wow.
So you could see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us, developing in such a way that we develop the brain before developing the body. Where in animals, it's the body first. For example, a gorilla or a chimpanzee, in the first few years, it would gain 50 kilograms within no time. 12 years, it's a full-grown adult. Whether in children, 12 years, still into the grumpy teen. So that's why we need to focus on the brain. Why do we need to develop the brain in children, especially from birth till 12 years old?
Beautiful. Thank you very much for being a part of this today. Just to begin with, while you have this beautiful introduction, an idea came to my mind, which was mentioned in the book Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.
Mm-hmm.
One of the experiments in the book he mentioned is a psychologist heard his 3-year-old daughter talking to her puppet like adults talk. She wasn't talking to the puppet, kids talk. She was talking to the puppet as if she's an adult. And he decided to have a recorder with her and compare between the way she talks to the puppets and the way she talks to them during the day. And he realized there's a vast difference between this and that. The reason behind it, the kid believed that the adults talk to me that way, so let me talk to them this way.
Interesting.
Okay.
Which shows that even as a 3 years old, she already knows the difference between how they speak and let me speak to them the way they speak to me. So the way you perceive the child's going to be the way you perceive the child.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm laughing because you've said that, and now I remember that my youngest child, she's only 2, and when I come back home, the first thing she says, "Go and have a shower." Now I know where she got it from.
So you see, she has the capability of speaking like an adult.
Absolutely.
I know that her mother told her to do that.
They're like sponges. They just absorb everything that
and she says it in a very authoritarian tone, and she grabs my hand. روح سبح.
So they have a potential to act like adults, and they have potential to actually. So my question is, why don't we give them the responsibilities like adults?
Why don't we even talk to them like adults?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we have the tendency to think that we need to talk to them the level we perceive them to be at.
Exactly, yeah.
We underestimate them.
Yeah.
But we don't, if you think about it, especially in our culture in Oman, we don't only do that with our children. Even with expats like Indians or who come from the Asian, from the subcontinent, we talk to them in a broken Arabic because we think that that's the way they would understand. If they speak to them proper Arabic, they might not understand.
And you would notice that the child, the language of the child develops much faster when you speak to them since birth with the just normal language, no baby talk, no goo goo gaga stuff.
Yes.
Because they actually understand. And I used to have people like raise an eyebrow when I would speak to my 1-month-old like an absolute like, oh, are you hungry? Are you tired? Do you want to sleep? No, do you want some food or whatever? And they would say, he's just a baby. But it's incredible how these kind of children actually speak faster than other children. So before the age of 1, they would be eloquent speakers because you don't speak to them as babies when they were
Exactly,
born.
So it begins much earlier than we think.
Yeah.
Before 2 years old.
Absolutely.
One of the things about the human brains is that there is a rule that is for adults and children alike. If you don't use it, you lose it. And a lot of the wiring that happens in the brains is, you have to develop it. You have to develop it by keeping active, by being active. if you don't make yourself active, then parts of your brain will actually die. Yeah. And you'll need a lot of time to redevelop all of that. Yeah. And with children, that's also true to children.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a real case example of an Italian kid who doesn't see from one eye, so he lost sight in one eye. And when they came to track the reason, apparently when he was a kid, he had an eye infection, and they had to put a plaster on his eye. So the bandage stayed in his eye for quite some time. The brain perceived it as, this is not going to be functioning anymore, so let me utilize this energy to something else. So the kid, actually, his eye was normal. Just the part of the brain that is responsible for that was utilized with something else, just because he was not using it.
Because he hasn't used it for quite a while.
Exactly, when he was a kid.
Yeah, so just imagine, Lamia, if we ignore our children during summer period, and we say, okay, school is over, then learning is over as well. It's fun time. What would happen to that part of the brain that is responsible for learning and developing? It would just go brain dead. And then when the next year starts, or the next semester starts, they need a lot of time to catch up.
I was listening to a debate or a conversation between media and one of the channels in America, and they were discussing, should children actually continue doing homework during summer? And you had two distinct groups. One would said, well, the research shows that if 70% of the children who actually do small parts of homework throughout the summer do much better in the following academic year than the children who don't. Whereas the other group was saying, this is hell for the parents, because for us, summer holidays is like, yes, we don't have to do homework for 3 months. So you can see that there are two different opinions about this. But whether it be homework or any other kind of activity, the idea is that we have to keep their brains stimulated during the summer so that they keep it working, not in terms of homework, because as soon as you mention the word homework to the children, they just get the mental block. So we can say, oh, we're going to have a fun session of, counting today, or just make it sound like it's so much fun and add more a spin of activity and fun to it, and a fun element to it, so that they are more motivated.
So it would definitely have to do with the way we teach our children. Yeah. And I believe, Mu'tasim, you have something for us and an experience that you would like to share with us and the listeners about the experience of teaching from a specific school.
Actually, there's a beautiful case of a school in the United States, in Texas. It was founded by Marilyn Wilhelm. The school's name is Marilyn Wilhelm International School. She started with only 10 kids and with a loan from the bank, so a very humble beginning, more than 30 years ago. The idea behind the school is she makes the students realize from the beginning that they are part of the entire ecosystem. So she gets the students to study the entire human race, which makes them realize that the root ancestors are the same of all human beings. And one of the values she teaches in the school is the golden rule, which is don't do to others what you wouldn't like to be done unto you. Or in Arabic, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. So basically, with these values, she begins the school. Those students, most of them graduated from the school with high achievers in their fields, whether they're Nobel Prize winners, whether they're lecturers in Harvard and MIT universities, which shows the impact of the school. Now, the philosophy behind it is she believes that the students coming into the school, they are coming in with inner genius. Mm-hmm. They are already geniuses.
Okay.
All she does is she discovers their genius. She knows what field they would love to tap into, and she lets them explore into that field. And can you imagine being in a class of, let's say, 10 students, and each student is inspired by what they have, and the homework you give them is something that they're inspired about. If someone is inspired about business, you let them go research about business. If someone is inspired about history, you let them go research about history, and they come back the next day.
Custom made.
Exactly, and
I'm
the
sure
next day they all come back, and just you seeing someone who is inspired about something, even if it's not your field, but you still feel the inspiration. So it's a full session of inspiration, just because she cared enough for the kids to realize what they are really valued,
like,
what they like
value,
the most.
Let us pause a little bit on the first golden rule that you mentioned, that treat people the way you like to be treated.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is one of the universal rules. Let's say, not only in Western cultures, but in Eastern cultures. I think universally throughout history, you would always find philosophers, thinkers who have identified that as an ideal way of dealing with each other. So in Islam, as you mentioned, the saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. None of you would be a believer unless you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Yeah. So teaching these values is key. It's not the information, but it's the values. So starting from values, you build the personality of children, and you instill in them the ideal values, yeah, and let them actually live it day in, day out.
Exactly.
You don't only preach them. So that's a very good way to start raising children from a very young age. And I think you mentioned this is from nursery stage, or
exactly, yeah. Nursery stage.
I think maybe the concept of sharing comes from this as well. Because when you share, you have something that you love, and normally kids don't like to share. It's one of the biggest challenges for a child to actually share their favorite toy.
Yeah.
So if you teach the child to share, I think this comes from the same basic principle of loving for others what you love for yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
Just teaching an importance.
And I mean, the education system today, and even parents at home, most of the time, we reward the kids based on achievements. Not based on values, whether they stick to the values or not. The talk of values is not even mentioned. So the kid is left out to explore the values by himself.
Yeah, and it could be any value.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Imagine,
without any verification. Well, the verification you get is when you come back home with a value, you get a smack. That's the verification. Yeah. Where do you get that from?
exactly,
You need to
yeah.
guide
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So it's too late already.
Yeah.
But if you start with your children with the values, then it would be much easier for them to go and face the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, in a very positive manner.
That is a huge burden on the parents, though, because they have to live the values before talking about them. I mean, talking about them, kids don't learn by talking; they learn by seeing more. So if they see the parents follow certain values and principles, they would do that as well.
Before going into the second golden rule, I would like to remind our listeners that the lines are open for them to call us and join us in today's session on 24602058. That's 24602058. Now, the second golden rule is that we all stem from a single source. Yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, all human beings, regardless of race, color, nationality, we all come from a single, source. And that is a very powerful message, that we are all equal. Yeah?
Yes.
And we are interlinked one way or another. So if I have a desire, you have another desire, and there is a conflict, we need to understand that we are the same. And if we understand, we have a common understanding, if we instill this in children, that we have a common source, we are the same, then it would be much easier to have resolutions to our conflicts. And that's a very powerful message that needs to be adapted in schools.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even at home. At home, for example, you see, me as a karate coach, I see students from all sorts. And I have students from different nationalities. And sadly enough, you hear racist comments from some of the students at the young age of 5. And you start questioning, where did they get these from? It could be at home, it could be at school. So instilling the values should come first before other people instill their values into the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The third value you mentioned is the interest. Is every single child is given an essay according to their interests.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now that's really good. But this is a school. Yeah, a school environment.
Yeah.
And we can't send all our children to that school. So how could we really implement those values at home? Can we really do that?
I believe that we have to first define our values that we want to pass on to our children. And maybe through, we need to remember that 59% of the time, the children, if we calculate the number of hours spent at school per year for the children, and then you calculate how much time they spend at home, we actually have 95% of the time of the children's time amongst our hands. 59%, which means that we have the children spend more time with us than they do at school. So we need to realize, once we realize this, almost a sense of responsibility jumps in, and you feel like you actually have more potential to shape these children before they get shaped by the values taught by the teachers at school.
Yeah.
So I think that the values should start at home before we send them off to schools, because then the values that we teach them at home will be it will be
Instilled, yeah?
it will be instilled in the child. It will not be easily taken away from them if they are to be exposed to other values that we as parents don't agree with.
Because see, a lot of parents, say, I pay several thousand riyals for my child to go to the best of schools. Why should I bother? Yeah, the school should do this. They should do that. And if the school, or if the child comes back from school with a negative attitude, they would blame the school rather than do their part.
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
I believe you cannot, as a parent, you cannot take over the responsibility of being a parent.
Yeah.
That's a huge responsibility, and for a person to step into getting married, it's a responsibility, and then to step into the decision of having kids, it's another responsibility.
Yeah.
And you can never delegate responsibility. We know that in business.
Yeah.
You can never delegate responsibility. I mean, you can give a part of the authority for them to do their job, but not the whole authority. You have part of that as well.
That's right.
As parents, they have to be the beginning. I mean, it's well known that the first influence for the kids are the parents at home. The second influence is school. Third influence is society.
So it was the surrounding.
The surrounding, exactly. So it's actually into steps. But nowadays, especially nowadays, media comes into place. It's a huge impact.
Yeah.
I mean, for parents, I would say after the parents directly, there's media and there's the housemate. Unfortunately.
Yes.
So if you're not sure, if you're not
Yeah.
sure about which housemate do you have and what media channels are they exposed to, then you're leaving your kids to be raised by their surroundings instead of certain principles that you had in mind.
Maybe I can take your advice here, because I was told that I was a bit too strict here, but because I believe in what you just mentioned, that the media and the immediate surrounding shape your child a lot. So I decided, because I've been through a lot of the channels that are freely available on the satellite dish, and I must say that all I see is that it encourages violence. It encourages racism. It encourages bad manners. So I took the decision along with my husband to ban TV programs or cartoons in the house. However, what we did as an alternative is that we got a huge selection of DVDs from the UK or the States that have been pre-screened and pre-selected by both me and my husband, where we know exactly the content of the DVDs. And there can be Mr. Tumble, Mr. Maker, The Wiggles, all of these shows that are fun for the child. They learn the language, they learn activities, and basically they're away from all these harmful effects of what the media. They learn absolutely nothing. Actually, they learn bad manners and bad things from the current cartoons. So I think for the parents who are out there, this is a very important point now during summer, because the kids, I assume, are going to spend hours on the TV. And this is an important point for the parents to actually screen and go through what the children are watching and select it for them. And in terms of technology and using iPads, I mean, I think these days it's a very common phenomena that you see children walking around with iPads, which is very antisocial. Yeah. Again, I was told that I was too strict, but the iPad is not banned from being used. My children do use the iPad, but it is we have applications that have been downloaded, to benefit the child. They are allowed to play, for example, a specific time limit during the day, and then the iPads, we don't take the iPads from them, but we ask them that when the alarm rings, so we have an alarm that rings, once it rings, my child will actually come up to me and say, "Mama, I'm done." So he takes responsibility for his own actions. He comes and he watches his show for 20 minutes and he will come and hand in the iPad. Sometimes he complains a little bit.
If I did that with my children, when the alarm rings, I'll have to chase them out.
Or snooze.
They'll be running away with the iPad. No, I'm not done yet.
They're never done, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll press the snooze button for another 10 minutes.
So, some children, if you teach children the way Lamia does, people within your surrounding society will tell you you're very strict. Yeah. From my own experience, I think if the society tells you something like this, if you're too strict, I think it means that you're on the right track. Because generally,
much better now.
Because generally, the society, unfortunately, is not always right. and sometimes being against what the society does. Sometimes it's a very powerful statement, dangerous statement. But most of the time, if society criticizes you in doing something, sometimes it means that you're doing right. Do you agree with that?
Definitely.
Okay.
You asked a question that's quite close to my heart.
We have a caller. We'll need your comment on that after this call.
Beautiful.
Hello, السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. معك رحاب الحاج.
أهلا وسهلا رحاب. That's my sister.
Okay, I just had a few comments listening to you guys. I think what children need most during the holidays and basically during their lives really is structure. So they need to understand, or they need to be aware of what they need to be doing since they wake up in the morning, like having breakfast, brushing their teeth, getting themselves ready. Like they have the same structure at school, it's like a timetable. They know what class they're going to start with and what class they're going to end with, and, the breaks in between. So that's something they would need as well at school, as well as at home.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of structure.
Yes, that's a very important point actually, because it should be easy to apply such a thing because they've already been used to having a structure and a routine at school. So applying it with different elements in your structure should be like a continuation of what they're already used to doing. So that's a very important point, Rahab. Thank you. And I know that I normally seek advice from my elder sister, Rahab, and I call her the super nanny because she has read all the books of super nanny and she applies the rules absolutely brilliantly, and she has her own touch in things. And I must say, maybe we should actually invite her as well for next show. And
Inshallah, why not?
Thank you very much, Rahab, for your call.
One more point I wanted to add is I remember wanting to take my children out of school just a couple of months ago to go on a summer holiday. Not summer holiday, like just a short break.
Yeah.
And it was just a few days before the actual holiday was about to start. And I went and apologizing to the teacher that I was going to take them out of school and they're going to miss about 3 or 4 days of school. And she said to me something that shook me. I didn't expect that kind of reaction from her. She said, sometimes the children learn more from traveling than they do at school.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Interesting, yeah. Yes.
That's something that I never thought of. And she said, don't worry about it. It's okay. They need to go outside and learn from the world because that's where they're going to end up with. They're not going to stay at school forever. This afternoon, I have this book. It's called The Kids' Book of Questions. One of the questions that I was asking my 9-year-old son today was, would you rather have your parents give you more gifts or spend more time with you? And I assumed he would say gifts, but no, he said, I would rather you spend more time with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, something that a lot of people say, I'll just I'm working so hard, so I'm going to give my child whatever he wants. He has his iPad, he has his TV, he has whatever games he wants. Even when they do spend time with him, or with them rather, I'm sorry, I'm saying him because I have 2 boys. But when they do spend time with the children, they would take them out, not to parks or, interactive, where they interact with the child. It's more like going to city center and then throwing them in, the fun zone or Magic Planet, and just leaving them there while they go shopping. That's not called quality time with the child. You either go in and stay with the child and watch them and interact with them rather than just putting them that side and leaving them there. One other question was, if you could change any one thing about your parents, what would that be? And I thought he was going to come up with something like, if you stop screaming at me or let me sleep a little bit late or give me more stuff to do. And he said I would. He didn't want me to grow older. And I thought that was, they just come up with these spontaneous ideas that we never think of.
Yeah.
And as Ustaz Talal just mentioned, rewards are based on actions.
Yeah.
That's very important, and that's one of the rules that, my children are used to. Always when they ask for something to be done for them, like, can we do this and can we do that? It's always, all right, if you get this done, then we'll do this for you. So they're used to that kind of thing, and
thank you.
That's all I have to say, really.
Thank you very much. I mean, we need, I think, a full show with you.
Yes.
On parenting.
I'm lucky I get free sessions.
Thank you very much, Rahab. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You had a comment. You wanted to comment on what Rahab has said.
Yeah, actually, I love traveling as well.
Okay.
I'm a person who loves traveling. I went 2 years ago. I went on a backpacking trip on my own through Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos. Just a backpack, and without clear plan, just to know the areas I wanted to go, and I kept myself flexible. I met a guy. He was French, and he was with his 12 years old kid. And I asked him, "Is just two of you guys traveling?" And he told me, "Yeah, I took my kid 1 year off from school to travel the world."
Wow.
And he said, "I believe this 1 year would teach my kid more than 20 years of schooling."
Yeah.
So he knows different cultures, different religions, different whatever it is. I mean, the entire world. And I heard it was an amazing idea. I mean, it might not be practical for many people, but I believe if you're able at least a month or 2 months to travel, not traveling in the sense of tourism and playing games and stuff, and actually shopping, exploring different cultures.
That's in the Quran.
You know?
فسيحوا في الأرض.
Yeah.
انظروا,
Yeah.
That's an advice that has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that to go and see what happens to the nations, and it's all it's part of learning. So that's a new perception, a new idea that maybe we don't think of quite often.
He'll lose a year of his life.
Yeah.
That's the big.
He'll lose a whole year.
It's not losing; it's gaining.
It's gaining.
Exactly.
But it depends how you do it. And I don't know. Have you kept in touch with this person to see what were the results afterwards? Have you?
Unfortunately, no. But from the kid himself, I realized from the way he presents himself, he's quite mature for his age. I mean, 12 years old.
We have we have a call. Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, Dr. Lamia?
I'm very well, thank you. Who's
Hatem
on?
al-Salam.
أهلا وسهلا حاتم.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Today's show is very interesting,
Thank you.
especially that it is very dear to my heart about raising kids.
Yes.
And I think maybe some of the people around us invest in everything except their children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are living in a very big illusion that we're doing the best for our children by putting them into the best schools and feeding them the best food and buying them the best clothes.
Yes.
But we're not doing them the right favor.
Yeah.
As I've had a program in the past that is called Young Leaders. I interview young kids, and many parents they were living a very big illusion, that they were on the same page with their children. One of the shows that I had is a boy who was 12 years old, and during the show I said we'll go for a break, and then during the break I told him that now we're going to talk about your parents, and he said please don't even mention their name, I don't want to hear about them. And I was shocked. How come he hates his parents so bad? And then after the show I called his mother and I said, my name is Hatem al-Salam, I just interviewed your son on the radio, can I have 5 minutes with you? She said, yeah, go ahead. And I asked her, how's your relationship with your child? She said, very good. We're buddies and everything is good. And he's a good son. And I said, are you sure? She said, yes, I'm sure. And I told her that this is not the case with your son. He doesn't even want to hear your name being mentioned in front of him. She said, no, this is not true. You're talking about someone else. So I think many people might be living this illusion that as long as I'm doing everything for my kids, then that's it.
Hatem, can I ask you for a favor? You can just hold the line with us. Please do stay with us because we're going to just cut off a little bit for the Adhan al-Asr. But please, we look forward to hearing more from you in just a second.
Inshallah.
Our listeners, now it's time for a call to prayers, Adhan al-Asr, according to the local timing of Muscat and its suburbs. Those who reside outside Muscat Governorate have to notice the difference in timing. Radio Sultanate of Oman.
The Art of Living. The Art of Living.
Okay, we're back. Hatem, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you for waiting, Hatem.
You're most welcome.
Just to remind our listeners that you can call us on 2460-2058. That is 2460-2058. Yes, Hatem, back to you.
Yes, I was saying, Dr. Lamia, about the illusion that we are living in.
Yes.
Yeah, thinking that if we provide everything for our children, then we're in good terms with our children.
Yeah.
But actually, they don't feel that way towards us.
Yeah, we need to realize that it's more than material.
We're happy that we love each other, but actually we're not giving them that attention that they need.
Absolutely right.
And
Yes.
and this is very dangerous because they grow up becoming adults that hate their parents. And
That's-
then many parents wonder why their kids become rebellious and they don't want to get along with their parents. Yeah, not understanding where the problem has started at the first place.
I guess, Hatem, that's a very important point, and maybe it's time for the parents to take a step back and have a little chit-chat with their children and see what their relationship, to re-evaluate the relationship with their children. Thank you very much, Hatem, for your
You're most welcome.
call,
Thank you for
and
the
we
show.
look
Thank you
forward
for
to
the
hearing
show.
from you more. Thank you very much.
I think one of the ways to do that is what Rehab has mentioned, is that, ask your children, in a very, relaxed environment, what do they think? We have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Yes, hello. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I was listening to your show, and I've actually just pulled over. I was listening to it, and we're doing all of what you were just talking about. My children, we have a class from 9 till 12. My wife teaches them everything from physical fitness to Latin to something else till 12 o'clock, and then they put aside their work, and then the afternoon is free for them to play.
Wow.
And the evening is for us to do some family activities. Throughout
Yes.
the whole day, there's no TV. You can come to our house at any day. There's never a TV on. And
I love that.
they enjoy it. But
Absolutely.
my only comment was that you were speaking of values.
Yeah.
I think the values begin long before the children even come to summer programs, before they even start school. It really comes down to the values of the parents, meaning who's more important?
Yeah.
Is it the parent or is it the child in terms of your time?
Yeah.
It really starts there. And the second value that I think we've used, that we've started with, is to instill upon them that it's better to be creators rather than consumers.
Yes.
Because when you have an iPad, when you have TV, you're just consuming. You're just consuming something.
That's a brilliant point.
Yeah.
So those are only two things that has really guided me in terms of when you think about your time, who's more important? Me, as the adult, or the child? And who's the priority?
Yeah.
And for us, we put the child as a priority instead of us, and maybe that could be wrong, I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. And thank you very much. We didn't get your name, by the way.
My name's Hemant Fadness, and I'm an expat here, just recently arrived over the past few months. But
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
Oman.
Welcome to Oman, and we hope that you enjoy your time in Oman. And
thank you very much.
please tune in and always give us your ideas. We are here every day from Sunday to Thursday.
Oh, we'd love to do that.
Thank you, Heyman. Thank you very much. Mu'tasim, summer and values, what Heyman was saying is that values are not for the summer only. But I think this is something that we probably wanted to establish, but we probably didn't get the idea across, is that when we talked about the school established in the USA, that they started, teaching values, it's how do we implement that in our lives here in Oman? We can't send off our children there. But I think we spend 59% of our times with our children, and school only 41%. So we have the upper hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we should start with the values from day one, from birth, if not from before, because we need to live our values first. When we have our children, we are ready to teach them not only by words, but by our actions as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
So thank you very much for that, Heyman. If we want to go into the physical, actual steps on how to teach our children to utilize summer to the fullest and boost their brain power and develop their brains, I may start with, let's have a plan. And that's what Rehab has said.
Yep.
Start with a structure. And maybe I could start with my own experience with my children. Just before the summer started, I printed out an A4 sheet with a schedule of goals. I didn't say tasks, but I said goals. Goal number 1, 2, 3, 20 goals. Yeah. And they would fill it out. So I sat down with the eldest two. One is 10, the other one is 9. I asked them both, when you wake up at 5:30 to pray your Fajr prayers, what do you want to do after that? So goal number 1 is actually praying Fajr on time at the mosque. Yeah. Number 2, what do you want to do? And I did that with all my children. So from the time they wake up until they finish. And it's for Sunday, Monday, for the whole week. And they put a star. It's their duty to put a star for every target has been achieved. If they do it throughout the week, constantly, without losing a day, then they get an extra bonus star for consistency. Yeah. So I'm trying to teach them more than one thing at the same time. Achieving the goal. Secondly, doing it consistently. Yeah. Beautiful. We have another caller before we go to the second.
Today. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Hello, welcome to the show. Hello, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Hello.
Yes, who's speaking?
Khalil Hanshi speaking.
Khalil, welcome.
This is my colleague and friend and brother.
I'll let you take the call.
Khalil Hanshi. Are you calling from the UK, Khalil?
Yes, I am. Well, I promised I will listen in, and I'm listening to
followers.
By chance, one of the topics to my heart as well, and you know that.
Thank you very much, Khalil. It means a lot to us here. So first of all, Ramadan Mubarak to you. I'm just saying it live. We've said it to you before, but just live on radio, telling you Ramadan Mubarak and wish you all the best, fasting 25 hours a day.
Nice. Thank you. I would just like to pick on from the previous caller on creativity and letting kids create and do things. And to me, that also comes with what most parents are afraid of, is making a mess at home. And letting kids be creative sometimes can create mess. And we somehow through our culture, I found out that we always telling kids, don't do that. I've just cleaned the house, don't mess it up. And then to me, sometimes that do really kill creativity. And if you don't provide the right place or the right environment for kids to try things, to break things, to make a mess, I think it does kill the creativity later on in their stage. And having said that, I have a 6-year-old kid whose favorite toy or gift is an empty box.
and a roll of tissue, toilet roll. Is that one? Cut it all, rip it all off.
Yeah, so he's really happy if you give him an empty box. The bigger the box, he's more happy. So the moment he sees a box, he just wants that box, and he creates his own things from that box. At some point, we had the house full of empty boxes, broken boxes. So it does get sometimes anywhere we try to get rid of the boxes, and he started crying because he wants the boxes, and we have to teach the fact is how many boxes you can have, and you cannot have the whole space.
But Khalil, he wouldn't cry for the box. I remember you told me this, and he would call it. What would he say?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a box for him, but that time it would be something that he made. So if he made a cow out of the box, it won't be a box, it would be a cow.
Bring back my cow, huh?
And if you call it, he gets insulted if you call it a box.
And this shows you creativity.
Yeah. So that's part of building creativity, and I really salute you, Khalil, that one of the points we wanted to actually mention as one of the physical steps of, boosting the brain power of children is create a supervised time for them to create a mess at home. Yeah? Supervised time where they could play and make a mess. Yeah?
Yes. I think that really is important for kids to have a structure, to be told, but also to have a time for them to just dream and create anything they think of, and that really keeps their brain, as you were saying earlier, working and in a creative mode, and that's what I wanted to basically say today.
Thank you very much, Khalil. Thank you very much for your call. We really appreciate it. You have made our show international, officially. So the art of living is officially international. Jazakallah khair. Shukran. Alaikum salam. So we'll have a wide, title tomorrow on WhatsApp or on Twitter. The art of living is going viral.
So going back to Mu'tasim, can you maybe help us with your thoughts and ideas on practical ways of keeping our children active and busy in a way that benefits them and boosts their brain cells during this summer?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things is to expose them to as many activities as you can. And I think you have an experience in that.
Yes, and I want to take just a few seconds here to thank my mom so much because don't give me that time. I just asked for 30 seconds, Wa'al. My mom earned this. As a child, my mom used to put us during summertime, expose us to different types of activities. And at the time, I thought, Mama, do you want us to do all of this? Tennis, swimming, piano, ballet, ice skating, you name it, private tutoring, and we thought it was overwhelming. But every summer she would expose us to a different set of activities, and the reason is that she wanted to expose us to all these activities so we realize what we actually like. And until today, I mean, I realized over the years that my heart fell into the swimming and ice skating, which I still master and practice right now. So as a child, I realized it's swimming and ice skating, and then I practiced, and of course the more practice the better you become, and that exposure is the one that led me to identify what I like. So I definitely agree with you that exposing the child to different activities so that they can actually identify.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the things, Mu'tasim, I know you like to read, but one of the very important things is that, nurture a passion for reading with children from a very young age. Reading will boost their brain power. Reading will, enhance their sense of curiosity. And they will be able to understand life much better with an open mind. The more they read, the more they are aware about the universe and life around them.
Exactly.
So reading is a very good way of keeping them active and busy, keeping the brain active and busy. And in fact, one of the targets for my children is to read a book.
Beautiful.
Read a book a day. Every day, just read one book. I don't care which book it is. If it's a story, or if it's about inventions, whatever you want. If it's about dinosaurs, just read a book. Mm-hmm. Read a book. If it's a single book, a small book, just read it in one day. If it's a big book, I will sit with them and, the minimum you can read is, let's say, 1 page or 1 paper. So 2 pages. And then I actually ask them to sit together with their younger brothers and sisters to teach them and tell them what they have learned. Mm-hmm. So I make it also interactive. Yeah, you turn them into bookworms. However, you also need to teach them social skills and how they interact with each other and communicate with each other. I'm not telling you the whole concept that I have started with them is successful, because part of the success, as we earlier mentioned, discipline and structure. And we have to structure ourselves first. So we are beginning with this idea. And it hasn't worked out well yet, but I'm sure giving it time and persistence and with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll get there.
Practice makes perfect.
Yes.
It was interestingly, it was Albert Einstein who said once, if you want the kids to be intelligent, let them read fairy tales. If you want them to read, if you want them to become more intelligent, let them read more fairy tales.
Absolutely, because it's Einstein himself who actually that says, I can't remember the quote, he said that imagination is more powerful than knowledge.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, knowledge will help you understand what's just around you.
Exactly.
Yeah? Imagination will take you beyond what is just around you.
Definitely.
So imagination, try during summer, have activities to enhance or, improve their sense of imagination.
Exactly.
And I think some video games help. Yeah, and I'm talking about very specific video games that involve interaction with, being active without the joystick.
Mm.
That they see something different, something that really give them new ideas, at the same time keep them active.
Exactly. Yeah, it is well known that in brain research recently that for the mind to perform in its fullest potential, you have to actually exercise both sides of the brain, the left side and the right brain.
Yeah.
So the left side is mostly about structure and logic. The right side is about creativity and imagination.
Yes.
So for the kid, you have to expose the kid to both sides activities, not just, for example, the left side, but more of both. So you can see which part of the brain the kids fits more.
Do you have any suggested activities that you think will stimulate, so that you can give an idea to the listeners of what kind of activities they can...
With the right brain, immediately you can say painting. You can say painting. My niece is 5 years old, and you can see that she's an artist from this young age. I mean, she can see the way she paints. It's her thing, you know. So if the parents are actually would let the kid go into that area even more, the kid would turn out to be an artist. But if the parent would say, no, art doesn't bring you any money in Oman, you can't find a job, then the person will stop and get into another boring job and just be another number.
It's very interesting what you said, because I remember my first son, Ayub. With all my children, we sit down and draw and paint together. But I realized it's not the quality of the paintings that he does, but the messages through his paintings were shocking at some times. I remember once when I was in the UK, I lost sleep, because of a painting he did, and he was just, I think, about 3 years old, and he painted a very sad story of a face that is crying behind bars, and to me that was shocking, and I couldn't sleep because he went to sleep immediately after that, and I had to go with him, after when he woke up, to take me through the emotions and the idea, and then I got, I felt much more relaxed that it wasn't him, that it was an imaginary story through painting. And he still sometimes gives very powerful messages through painting.
I guess it's a way of expressing their feelings as well.
It's a way of expressing their feelings. Another of his brothers, they're much better with a paintbrush or with paints. So different skills, different type of skills, but each one has its own significance.
That's a point that we were discussing even before the show, that we need to realize that the parents who have more than one child, that when you set the activities for your children during summer, not to keep them all under the same activity. Don't expose them all to the same activity, because their interests are different and their age groups are different. So what a 2-year-old wants to do is different than a 7-year-old. So we need to keep that in mind, expose them to different activities according to their age and interest.
Definitely, yeah. For example, with the kids I have in my karate gym, I can tell that around 15 to 20% of the students that I have, they are naturally martial artists. They learn much faster than others. They master their skills much faster, and they don't need much supervision to actually master their skills, which is quite apparent. I mean, which kept me questioning, what about other kids? I mean, the school system is only focusing on one area, which is exams. So everything theoretical, nothing to do with physical activities, for example. Imagine if you get the kids to be exposed in different areas, physical exercise, painting, mathematics and science, and even philosophy, for example. It's well known that kids are the biggest philosophers because they ask the most questions.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. And it's part of brain development, keeping fit. Keeping physically fit, keeping your body fit and active, it's part of the brain development. And there is a lot of research that actually indicates and proves that children who are obese, are less, are lower performance than children who are much fitter and do activities.
Definitely.
Yeah. So during summer, keep your children active, keep them fit, play with them. I remember one of the first activities I've done this summer with my children is cliff diving. I took them to I went, I bought them some life jackets and went to Ras Al Hamra. It's about 6 meters high.
Wow.
And I told them, jump off. 3 of
Was your wife with you?
No. Otherwise they wouldn't even dare to jump. So the eldest is 10 and the second is 9 and the third is 7 years old. And they jumped over the cliff, and for them it was fun, and they did it again and again and again. So they were swimming, snorkeling, jumping off cliffs.
Beautiful.
Can I come?
Beautiful.
You can come.
It's really interesting. You never know which single experience could change the kid's life forever.
Absolutely.
It was the first time ever that they snorkeled, and it was a beautiful day on the beach, and the water was clear, and the amount and the variety of fish was amazing. Yeah? And they couldn't keep their head down. Every time they come out calling me and pulling me, look here, look there. I said, just enjoy it. Let it sink in. So keeping active is very important. So far we mentioned reading. We mentioned keeping active. One other thing is puzzles. Use puzzles with children.
Definitely,
I teach my children Sudoku. Yeah. Teach them crosswords. It would teach them mathematical skills, skills with words, vocabulary. Even the time when you actually sit around the table and eat, yeah, use it as a time for puzzles. For example, you could ask them, what is it that is yours that people use it more than you? Yeah, it's very simple, but it will stimulate that thinking. Yeah, we always do this with my children. I ask them questions. What are the animals that are mentioned in the Quran?
Mm-hmm.
How many types of insects that are mentioned in the Quran? Yeah, mention them. And then if someone says, I said, okay, don't mention a number if that's too strong for you. Can't mention a number. Each single child will have to mention an example, one example. Yeah. Sometimes you could give them more tough questions. Yeah. I buy them magazines where you have a lot of different puzzles and examples. Sometimes to trace the way in a maze or find the difference. A lot of these skills, and I've realized that they move very quickly from being very poor at it into better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Within no time, within record time, really.
What about jigsaw puzzle?
I love jigsaw puzzle with children. They really love it, and we normally take pictures of the puzzle once it's done, and keep the picture as.
I like jigsaw puzzle because it's kind of, sometimes it depends on the level, of course, but it's kind of the play and walk away task that I like to use a lot, because as a working mom, to spend the whole time with a child throughout the game is a bit time consuming. So I would start off with them, start building a little bit of, building blocks, or start the jigsaw puzzle. And then I will just say, okay, you have, the rest time for you to finish this jigsaw puzzle. So that gives the children time to play, but also gives us free time to.
Yeah.
I think one very important aspect for the kids is to instill in them the value of responsibility. Mm-hmm. So, for example, house chores, anything to do with them feeling a sense of responsibility. I believe, especially in our culture, we are lacking in that sense. We believe that we are the spokesperson of our kids until the age of 15. So the kid doesn't even make any decision up to that age. For example, I have a friend of mine. He's a karate coach, and he moved to Sweden. He took his kid to a school first day, and the kid was asked a question by the principal. So he wanted to respond instead of his kid. The principal said, "No, I'm asking him. Let him talk for himself."
That's good.
And he's only 5 years old. So for him to be able to present himself as a person from a young age and have responsibilities is something that the kids would develop their character as they grow older.
Matasim, that's a very important point. And absolutely. I think even making the children, when you go out during summer for meals, make them make their orders. When they go to the restaurant, let them make their orders.
Yes. From the age of 6.
Yeah, even less. My child was even 4.5 and
even
3.5. Even with the order, I want. Can I please have? And I said, don't say I want. You say, may I please have?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're teaching them manners. You teach them confidence. And taking responsibility. Very important point there, Matasam.
Just to touch on creativity, just before we end the show today, rather than buy your children toys like a remote controlled car, you can buy them a remote controlled car that they can actually, put the parts themselves.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So make your own car and then play with it.
DIY.
You can buy DIY helicopters, cars, whatever. Use the summer for them to actually build stuff, build things, and you have these scientific kits, biology, chemistry, physics. Normally they come with a book with 150 different tests. And it's really stimulating for the brain and for children to do different, play these games every day, different game.
For the listeners who are wondering where they can get these kits from, I actually buy these kits for my kids from Borders. So you have these kits, and they range in price. If you have a simple kit, then it can be 4 riyals, but they can range in price, of course, according to the complexity. I think Matasim, you wanted to.
If we end the show, Matasim would like final words.
That's similar to IKEA. Creativity.
Yes.
That's building your own products.
Yes. Matasim, thank you really very much for being our guest today.
My pleasure.
It's been a great show. We've enjoyed it. We really wish that if we could extend further and talk about it. But as we said yesterday, this show is about taking or learning from the art of a legend, Sheikh Khalfan Al-Aisi rahmahullah. He used to love children, love to talk about topics, and one of the things he used to do is end with a message of 3 points, 3 or 5 points. If we really summarize today's topic, how to utilize time during summer, 3 key aspects that we've learned. 1, structure. Anything you do with your children, have a structure. Secondly, creativity. Focus on creativity in everything you do with your children. And finally, responsibility. Use summer to boost responsibility and teach them to take responsibility. So that's it. We end the show today with another topic with the great Mu'tasim tomorrow from the age of 12 to 18 and how to boost youth potential and discover youth potential. Until then, from me, Wa'il Al-Harrasi
and Lamia Al-Haj
and Al-Mu'tasim Al-Sharji. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Every time I close my eyes, I see in front of me.
Let's embark on a journey of knowledge and discovery. Let's learn from the extraordinary lives of the greatest in the art of living.
Join the conversation with hosts Dr. Wa'il Harrasi and Dr. Lamia Al-Haj
Every day
from Sunday to Thursday
from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.